It doesn't get any more glamorous than this. The new Range Rover Evoque is here with the type of badge and curb appeal that most cars can only dream of. Today we're going to have a look around its new features and dimensions and see if it lives up to its very impressive reputation. The exterior makeover has actually been quite subtle, and they've kept that minimalistic design that fans of the original were so fond of. But a few subtle new design cues has it looking more like a mini Velar than ever. It's also borrowed some of the exciting design features of its larger sibling, like these flush door handles that pop out at the press of a button. But good looks and gimmicks aside, one of the Evoque's greatest strengths has always been that it's not just stylish but also quite practical. So we'll start by having a look at what sort of space is on offer inside. The boot is a pretty decent size. There's no load lift to lug stuff over. You've got a space saver spare wheel, and the seats fold in a handy three-way split, meaning that you can carry longer items and two rear seat passengers at the same time. The new Evoque is not any longer than the old model, but by stretching the wheelbase and pushing the front and back wheels further apart, they've managed to eke out a bit of extra legroom for backseat passengers. And headroom is pretty decent too. It's beautifully finished with a few really nice little thoughtful touches, like a reading light, magazine holders, a pull-down centre armrest complete with cup holders, and a little coat hook, which is always handy for travelling. 2 are definitely going to be more comfortable than 3 though, because the middle seat is a little bit raised and you do have this, in fairness, quite small lump in the floor to contend with. It could also do with a USB charging port instead of this 12-volt socket, but overall I think anybody back here is going to be pretty comfortable and, let's face it, pretty impressed. There's a nice smattering of storage cubbies in the front too, with lots of clever hidden areas that will help you keep the cabin nice and tidy. And you'll definitely want to do that because it is a beautifully designed interior. It's quite a simple, classic layout, but it works really well. All the materials feel of an extremely high quality and it's absolutely loaded with all the latest in new car tech. Standard features on the Evoque include a 10-inch touchscreen multimedia system. It also gets a generous level of safety features as standard, including a reversing camera, parking sensors, cruise control with a speed limiter, lane departure warning and emergency braking. You can upgrade to the S for some nice styling upgrades like larger wheels, heated electrically adjustable leather seats and sat-nav. Or to this SE, which is where things get really impressive with this dual screen Touch Pro setup that pops out of the dash like so on startup. On the outside you'll get 20-inch alloy wheels, premium LED headlights and these funky scrolling indicators. It'll also get you a powered tailgate. Then there's the HSE, which goes one further again and will turn this rear view mirror into a high definition camera, which will ensure that you get a clear view of what's behind you, even if you've got a very tall passenger or extremely large load blocking your view out the back. It's not fitted to this car, but I think I'll survive without it. There are even more options available on the Evoque, like a sportier or design model and a first edition model, which comes with just about every bell and whistle you can think of and is only available for the first year of production. So in terms of in-car tech, it's right up there with the best available on the market, but it's all executed very well. It's quite a simple system to use and it never feels overwhelming. In a very progressive move, they've also added the option of some more animal-friendly interior materials, made out of things like eucalyptus if, for whatever reason, leather is not your cup of tea. There are moves being made to make it more eco-friendly on the road too. Now I know Range Rover is not the first brand to spring to mind when it comes to green driving, but the new Evoque has been fitted with a mild hybrid system that helps it to achieve better fuel economy and lower CO2 emissions than before. There are also plans to introduce a plug-in hybrid version, which will be a very interesting proposition when it arrives. For now though, the choice is a straight call between petrol and diesel. The diesel options range in power output from 150 to 240 PS, and then the petrols range from 200 to 300 PS depending on how much punch you're after. Most come with all-wheel drive and an automatic transmission as standard, with the exception of the front-wheel drive manual entry-level D150, which will arrive later in the summer. This is the D150 all-wheel drive auto, and it's going to be one of the most economical ones to run, with a claimed fuel economy of 5.6 litres per 100 kilometres and CO2 emissions of 149 grams, which gives it an annual motor tax bill of €390. Now, it probably won't come as any surprise that Range Rovers aren't exactly cheap to run, and that those fuel economy figures can be quite difficult to achieve in real life. It is quite a big and heavy car after all, and it's also four-wheel drive, which I suppose is paramount to the whole Range Rover experience. That feeling that you can go absolutely anywhere that you want to, no matter how unlikely it is that you actually take it off-road. That does give it a nice rugged go-anywhere feel, and it's actually quite good fun to drive. It takes a corner pretty well, and the raised ride height does give you a nice commanding view over other traffic. There's a nice smooth power uptake from that 9-speed automatic transmission, and it can also be nice and subdued when you want it to be. A nice supple suspension setup and great sound insulation means that very little in the way of outside lumps and bumps and other traffic noise disturbs this peaceful cabin. It's a very, very comfortable car to drive, and definitely not one you'd mind taking a long journey in. The Evoque is a car that will turn heads, not just because it's a Range Rover and they generally do, but because it's a beautifully designed car in its own right. And while it's very easy to write it off as just a fashion statement, it's got an awful lot more going for it than just that badge. Is this a car that you'd like to see parked in your driveway? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Like and share if you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please hit subscribe.